we're going to start with Tesla's Cybercab because that is really interesting. Tesla finally launched this big thing we've been talking about.
I think, the Tesla thing's interesting because we've talked about this on like our first or second episode.
Yes.
We sort of went into their different strategy from Waymo and how they were playing a longer and more dangerous game with scaling. They were not going to do the expensive radar. They were going to do AI only, cameras only, the way the human eye works. And because they had so many cars on the road, they would get so much training. That was the idea.
And we talked about how the launch was coming up in June. We'd been kind of excitedly building up to that point, and now we have the launch happening.
I will say one thing. One, congratulations to Elon Musk. This is probably the first deadline that he's announced that he is, I guess, successfully hit.
Maybe
ever.
the first I can think of.
I mean, if you say I'm gonna make this shot 8 times in a row, you make the 8th. Is that hitting the deadline? I looked into this to just check. In 2019, Elon said Tesla customers will be able to utilize their cars as robo-taxis in 2020. That didn't happen.
No.
Now it's 2025 and it launched. So I guess kind of he said this is going to happen.
Oh yeah, I just mean he's always been doing like in 1 to 2 years. It's a classic phrase from Elon, which is like we're about 1 to 2 years away. This time he finally set a date, which was like you shouldn't do that, Elon. He's like June. We're gonna have this available in June. I was like, don't make a specific date because people will catch you on that.
This is actually exactly like the RD&T.
You guys are the same.
Okay, so Tesla robo-taxis have launched. This is again, to reiterate the stakes of this, Elon himself has
is this the video?
This is a video right now if you're watching on YouTube. This is of a Tesla driving in Austin. Right now there's a clip of it going over basically into the wrong side of the road, over a solid
can you play that again?
Yellow line. Yeah, I'll just rewind this for people who are interested in it. So let me just break down the basics here. So what this is the implementation of driverless cars by Tesla. This is what Elon's been hyping up this whole time. He himself has said that the value of Tesla as a company, the reason their stock is so insanely high is because of the premise, and that one's not doing well, is the premise that the entire fleet of cars could be turned into these driverless taxis, and that would be the value of the company. They become this, the combo with Uber and a car company and everything else. Yeah. So this is the premise of why Tesla is so valuable, and it finally launched on Sunday, June 22nd. We are recording this a few days later. It is now live in Austin. However, not quite as exciting as it maybe sounds.
Wait, so this is available only in Austin. If I go there right now, or perhaps I was at the Counter-Strike Major this weekend and I wanted to hop in one of these to go home.
Celebrate the new skins.
Celebrate the rising skins, the viewership record that got broken. And I wanted to go home using the robo-taxi. Can I call this in Uber right now? Like, what is my accessibility to this?
My understanding is available on an app. You can call it. It costs $4.20 per ride. Little Elon Musk hilarious weed joke.
So yes, hilarious 420 meme joke. So obviously right now, so it launched technically in the sense that there isn't a person driving the car, and that is an epic meme, but it's an early access. There's 10 to 20 of these total in Austin. There's a map if you're watching on YouTube. It is geofenced, meaning that it's in a limited area of Austin, Texas. It is not the entire
it's
city.
Just pink area, right?
Yeah. So on the left, you can see the region that Tesla can actually operate in. The right is Waymo. So Waymo is the bigger competitor and basically the counterpoint to Tesla's whole strategy of Waymo is much slower and more expensive as a car. I mean, slower in the sense that they have a lot more detection. They're rolling out slower. Tesla's a little more like send it kind of vibes.
I can tell from the clip. It sent the intersection.
It's Wild West, baby. We're back.
Yeah. It's not a good look for day one.
And it's worth pointing out that this is not public. You basically have to be invited to it. So technically, this service is live. But the reason it matters, even though most people can't go actually use this right now, you need to invite. One, Elon's saying they're going to scale up to 1,000 vehicles in a few months, which is insane. I think that's quite unlikely. By comparison, Waymo has approximately like 100 to 150 in Austin. Probably they're not going to get to 1,000 anytime soon.
Could we go back to the rollout plan for a second? Because part of the value that we had talked about was this idea that they had already sold so many cars, right? So many people own Teslas, and the idea is like if you can just push a software update and use these cars in this way, all of a sudden, people could start renting them out when they're not using them. They could become like, I could own a Tesla and make them available for this service. That's part of the rollout plan here.
Exactly.
But for the ones available right now, did they make a bunch of their own separate robo-taxis? These aren't existing Teslas that were already on the road and owned by people. This is Teslas that they're bringing into the city and are their own Uber service, their own app.
So these are Model Ys. These are just the same cars that they're selling to other people, but they were made, specifically for this. This isn't like a random person can go send their car onto the road. But again, that exactly what you said. That is the pitch. So Waymo's whole vibe to this is they're making these cars that are really, really expensive. They have a ton of sensors, a ton of tech. They have LiDAR, they have radar, this extra types of technology that Tesla doesn't. Tesla's strategy is it's going to be the same car that they sell to people for $30,000 can also be one of these robo-taxis. So if this rollout succeeds, Tesla then has the ability to have millions of these things suddenly appear on the road, whereas Waymo has to individually make these at a very slow, expensive level. That's the gamble, and it's why this is kind of a crazy ass thing.
Long term, is there a plan are they planning on selling these cars to companies like Uber and Lyft and they're going to run the service? Are they maintaining their own service and I'm going to open the Tesla app and be a customer like that?
Why would they go to Uber?
Well, so something that I had just read literally yesterday was that Volkswagen has been working on their own EV robo-taxis that they want to roll out by 2026, but they're partnering with Uber to do it. Yeah. They're not making their own independent service. They're giving or selling the taxis to Uber to run through their own app. Like rather than building out your own platform, but Tesla, a company comparatively experienced with software compared to like other car companies, I feel like it does make more sense for them to be their own brand, their own thing.
Yeah. So even Waymo is partnered with Uber. So again, that's part of the gamble here with Tesla is they're doing everything. And so you get one of these things in Austin right now through the Tesla app. So the pitch is, again, the reason Tesla is this obscenely overvalued or correctly valued company, depending on what you think in the stock market, is because of this pitch. Like they can overtake all of Uber and Lyft because they will be managing it all themselves.
Yeah, they're not just going to be a car company anymore. They're going to be a transport service.
Yes, like across the entire country. So they are explicitly trying to do everything themselves, and that is the moonshot of why Tesla is theoretically worth so much. Uber actually was in self-driving and trying to do it themselves, but whoopsie daisy, they killed somebody in 2018. And so they shut down. Cruise, which was one of the big competitors, they got shut down and they lost their license in 2023, and then that's basically been shuttered.
Can't you fucking kill somebody anymore?
You can't just kill someone.
You can't fucking make a mistake and get back to it.
You get one mistake.
Whatever
happened to making... Cool if a human does it, all right? I want rights for my robots.
You think nobody died building the railroads?
Such a funny saying. You could apply that to any murder.
That's not.
So yeah, we can chat more about it.
Of how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm skeptical. I'll say it. I'm, classic Atrioc, skeptical of Tesla. But the example you show was the funniest one. But there's other errors already happening on day one. And just to be clear, this is like 10 cars that they super prepped for. They already like pre-routed this whole area. They had cars with LiDAR go through and scan it all to prepare for their systems. They have a passenger driver in every car for safety. Like,
wait, really?
Yeah, you're in the back seat. A Tesla employee's in the front seat.
Oh, so that guy in the front is just the employee.
He's the employee.
Yeah.
In the video.
Every car has a dude sitting in the passenger seat with a button to like kill switch it.
Yeah. Wow. And like I saw one where there's a guy in the back seat. He's like, all right, I want to stop here and get out. So he pushes the stop button. The car just pulls over in the middle of the road and stops. And then the guy in the passenger seat has to call Tesla and he's like, hey, we got to restart the car. That level of like live service availability only works for 10. They're not going to have in the real world millions of operators ready to go.
All right. Guy who can only contextualize things through gaming here.
Okay. It's like Mario Kart.
You might recall when Valve rolled out Counter-Strike 2 and they replaced Counter-Strike Global Offensive with it. And it was in beta technically, and they were inviting people, and it was shit. It was bad. But the reason they did that is because they got a way larger amount of people testing and using the product in order to solve and move the product forward faster. At least that's what they say. So what do you like? We're in the first couple days. Is this not just a way of resolving, bugs and issues and how this works?
That is what it is. It's a beta, right? I totally get you, but it's It's a world where I think the Counter-Strike example is not
with
perfect.
equivalent consequences in both scenarios. I want to be so clear.
No, I'm not talking about consequences. I'm talking about like
when CS2 launched, if you died in the game, you died in real life. A lot of people don't know that.
it's like if there already was a successful Counter-Strike that was doing pretty. You know what I'm saying? Waymo's already out there with more successful rides. So if you're launching with a bad or a not successful product or a more dangerous product, then you have to get better pretty quickly. And maybe they will. I can't proclaim to be an expert on how fast their services will train, but I'm of the core philosophy that we talked about since the beginning, which is like there are limitations to being camera only that can't be easily overdone. They can't be easily overcome. Like there will always be. And if they're making errors in broad daylight in the middle of the day with a passenger driver, then how are they going to handle fog, rain, wind, any of the camera things that we talked about that have been a problem since people watch that what was the guy's video?
Mark Rober.
Mark Rober's video. Like those problems haven't been solved. They've just been shouted down. I don't know. That to me is my core problem with this.
So let me
but if you have
argue for the other side. I think it's very easy, particularly for let's say our audience, to go Elon dumb, Tesla dumb. This is dangerous and bad.
And what you're saying.
And I give you like where this is going. And next topic. Let's move on.
Spinning.
So let me make the counter argument.
Yeah.
There's this belief that Waymo is the sort of perfect one because they're going slow and steady, and there's these tests of like Mark Rober did where it didn't drive through a car and whatever else. Here is an example. Here's a video from Twitter. This is like 2 straight minutes of Waymo's making really bad mistakes.
My personal experience is that I got my tail ridden by a Waymo, and it was it was like right up on my ass when I was driving, and I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, if you pull this is a video of a Waymo, I believe pretty recently, straight up driving down the wrong side of the road, and it just does this for a while. There's 2 full minutes of footage like this. There's plenty. Here's one of it looping in a roundabout. These are actually quite funny. And these are real cars on the road. So the idea that Waymo is this sort of like perfect, impeccable being, and then Tesla's coming in as like the irresponsible stepchild, it's not accurate. There's still plenty of evidence that Waymo has issues. Doing a self-driving car is extremely challenging. And so what's interesting about this whole thing, a lot of funny comedy going on in the background.
Even anecdotally.
Oh my God, why is it going? Yeah, okay, there's some bad stuff.
Literally outside of this happened a couple months ago. Literally outside of where I live, they had closed off sections of the street to film something, and there's a police officer there when that happens, and he's standing like blocking cars from going through. And there's also cones out to show that you shouldn't drive there, right?
Yeah.
All of the human drivers figured this out. I see a Waymo come around the corner. The cop puts his hand out. The Waymo just drives by him onto the set of the shoot. I'm not just not kidding. And then the cop turns around, looks at the Waymo, and he just goes like to himself. He just shrugs because he doesn't know what to do. Because there's no human in the car to confront.
Just chilling, man.
And
it's roaming free, like God intended.
So there's been a bunch, and I think similar videos of Waymo's blocking emergency vehicles. So I do agree with you about this part.
Yeah. So again, I think it's very easy to go like, oh, Tesla, the bad. But the reality is this is a really, really challenging problem. Now, at some point, there is going to be one of these companies that is safer than the other, right? And we don't have enough information to be able to point at this and go, Waymo is definitively safer.
Yeah, because one's only been out like a few days.
And my understanding, although we don't know for certain, is that what is driving the Teslas right now is full self-driving. It's the same technology that you, if you go buy a Tesla right now, can use. And again, that's the pitch. That is the whole point of this. Their goal here is to say the same Tesla you can buy for 30 grand can go be a taxi and can go make you a bunch of money in the street on the side because it is the same technology, right? So if you want to understand how good the robo-taxis are, almost certainly what you can do is get into a regular Tesla right now. In my experience, I don't know if you guys have talked to people who have this. I don't have a Tesla. I haven't seen full self-driving yet, but I've talked to 5 or 6 people who have. They say, oh, it's really, really good, but you kind of need to like watch just in case. They're not like 100% there, but it's almost all the way there. And that's not good enough. Actually, that's the end of the sentence, period. So there's a period there. And so that's what's interesting is this thing is no different than the Teslas going around. And that's kind of the most info we have. Ultimately, probably one of these companies is going to win. And again, if Tesla hits a person and kills them or seriously damages them, like happened in San Francisco to Cruise, it's probably over. I mean, like literally, if there's a huge major accident, it's probably over. It's not enough to cross onto the yellow borders one time. Like we have that clip. Everybody's been showing that one clip over and over. That's the only clip I saw of Tesla really messing up this weekend. So it's like now it's almost a waiting game. Like, can they make the cars safe enough, fast enough before they cause a huge accident and get the whole company shut down?
Yeah, so that's what I want to say is I will never disagree that there's many errors with Waymo, having dealt with one myself. It's more of that they've done in enough cities with enough rides now and nobody's died that I'm feeling like every day I'm feeling, all right, well, they're doing a pretty good job. Like it's been rolled out and tested enough that I'm like getting more confident. But with the Tesla one, it's only 10 cars, small area with a human in the passenger. So this is not enough of a test for me to say that I can overcome my skepticism. What is this?
A counterpoint. Elon Musk said, congratulations for a successful robotaxi launch.
Oh, then it's done. I didn't know Elon was on the side of this. I didn't take it back.
I also want to quickly reiterate for people why even do this. And it's worth reiterating. 42,000 people die a year from car accidents. 13,000 from DUIs, 12,000 from speeding related incidents. 1.2 million people die every year from car accidents. Hundreds or trillions of dollars in damage just in the US alone every year from car accidents. Humans are wildly irresponsible, shitty drivers on average. I include myself in that. I still text when it's like important, and I know I shouldn't. There are times when I go to change the radio. There's times when I'm exhausted. Even I don't drink and drive, obviously, but like even as I think a pretty responsible person, there's times where I'm like, why am I allowed to drive a death machine through the highway at 80 miles an hour? This is insane. Waymo has on their website, on the safety section, some great information about you're looking at like 80 to 90% reduction in crashes over what a human would do in that same period of time. So to put this, like to really ground this, tens of thousands of people die in the US every year. These cars already reduce the number of accidents by 80 to 90%. That number is going to keep going up as they get better. This is going to be a massive humanitarian achievement when we stop killing literally millions of people every year because human beings are driving cars. There's more going on than just that, but it's worth regrounding it. Like, this is the benefit if this works out.
Yeah, I think even longer term benefits of it, isn't the idea is if you had so many of these going around and they can communicate with each other and coordinate, you reduce a lot of the aspects of traffic, congestion. I still think this technology is super cool. It doesn't mean it's consequence free, but I'm looking forward to.
Yes, it does.
Counterpoint. Yes, it does.
Elon said it was a success. I don't understand what you mean.
Plus the mass reduction in, I've heard that like statistically, one of the greatest drivers of human misery is commutes.
Yeah.
Like people having to be in, so if you could take a nap on your commute, like that kind of thing, it could actually, overall life satisfaction go up for a lot of people in a way. Like I picture a city of Sims with their green bars.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think even if you imagine the some grand utopian future where it's, we have more, we have better planned cities, we have more trains, we have all these different public transportation resources to get around.
Yeah.
There's always a utility for cars. Like there's still going to be utility, whether it be in like more rural areas or to like get out of the city or to just get somewhere fast enough. There's value in in
also just have an immediate impact in a country that has been built for cars.
Yeah.
That it'll take a lot longer to get a public transport network built than it would be to just improve the current car infrastructure. And
is it really 420 a ride?
It's
Doge,
right?
And it's 420. It's
Elon, he's fucking based.
He's so not cool. It hurts, man. We've talked off the pod how
you swerve past a cop, it goes epic bacon.
We could be we could at least be normal.
Nah.
It could be $5. It could be $5.
I like the spirit of being a memey and having fun with a business. It just blows that it's this lame. You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem.
It needs to be on a different wave of
like hire someone who's cool to pick these numbers, right? And this like he's just not delivering.
Who's at the forefront?
Yeah, dude. This is the
There's
problem.
a cooler number.
Yes.
If he did 69 cents, it's whatever. I mean,
it's under $1. That's pretty tight.
But it is clearly like
no, I think $69.
Because Waymo's cost more than Uber's here. Waymo's prices are not low.
Are they not?
Yeah, my understanding, Waymo in LA costs more than an Uber. Many people have told me this when they try to call it. It's like, I don't go Waymo because it's a little more expensive.
I wonder, I mean, maybe because it's a premium service and right now that you have to get invited to, your invite usually gets accepted like immediately. And there's a limited amount of cars, so they can just hike it up for demand's sake or something. But I think that aside, they also can't go on highways in LA. Or at least they couldn't a few months ago. So all of the rides take longer.
Yeah.
Like the one time I took one to a party, it should have been a 10-minute drive. I get in the car and it says estimated time of arrival 28 minutes. And I was like, that seems wrong. Did we put in the wrong address? That's how I found out they don't go on highways.
Just wanted to spend more time with you.
Yeah.
Wanted to just talk to you, Aiden, make a friend for once. And you talk to human Uber drivers all the time, but whenever the AI's in there, you shut the clam up.
I did this on my most recent trip. I talked to this guy from Azerbaijan. We talked for an hour. I got him on WhatsApp. He's going to help me plan my trip.
I want to see you talk to ChatGPT.
I want to go yeah.
And he says time for that.
And he says he says he's friends I can hang out with.
You're crazy.
That's sick.
You're crazy.
He can't make fun of me because I introduced him to a friend I met in a grocery store, like randomly, and then we went on a road trip with that guy.
One of the coolest dudes ever. This is a random guy he met. We went on a road trip.
I can't wait
and now he's an MMA
until
fighter.
we replace that guy with a Uber, with a Waymo.
Yeah. You, Aiden, chatting up a ChatGPT bot in the car. So where do you live? Like, where you guys want to hang out after this, or?
And you're like, hey, can you go on the freeway? It's like, wow, you're so right. What a great point. You're so smart, Aiden. If you put it like that.
That's actually my big anti-position on this. It's like not that a bunch of people will lose their jobs from like the withering transportation industry. It's just that I won't have anybody to talk to.
You're just gonna be sad in the car. 80% of Aiden's friends are people he met in Uber drive. And now it's all gone.
Yeah, I build a network. You're jealous. I get it.
That's what was that called? The third job, the third living space?
Third spaces?
Third spaces? It's Uber for you, and it's going to be gone. I think we could move on. We're all kind of on the same page here, which is that Elon's great, Tesla's great. I want to wrap this up with a segment I call massively oversimplified. There's a huge amount going on here. I do want to get moving, so I just want to ask Atrioc, are self-driving cars good or bad? One word answer, please.
Yes. Yeah, I think yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, you're all caught up. Thanks.
I say yes. I think they're good.
I do.
He said, "Are they good or bad?" And you said yes.
Oh,
I mean that was actually the correct answer.
Now I see. I'm
gonna leave this with a funny story.
Good. I think they're good.
Little funny tidbit to send this off on. I was wondering, why are all these car companies launching in Austin specifically? And so I looked into it. The reason is because Texas in 2017 passed a bill that prevents cities from making their own regulations. So only the state can do it. And then the state just had simple rules and don't require a permit. So Tesla doesn't even need a permit to do this, which is crazy. So the Austin government, the city of Austin, like can't do anything to stop Tesla. And so apparently, like some people in, I think the Texas Assembly, like asked Tesla, they're like, hey, we're going to have new rules for this stuff. Please hold off until September 1st when we get this new bill launched. And Tesla just ignored it and just sent it anyways. So they literally had lawmakers. I was like, is Texas just really chill? What's going on? It's like, not really. They were just kind of like trusting people and then politely asked Tesla to not do this. And they just sent it this weekend.
That the incentives are that the conservative statewide government of Texas has turned the liberal city government of Austin into a testing ground for the world.
They're trying to get rid of the libs.
They're trying to get all the libs run over by robot cars.
Yeah, so they did pass a new law September 1st. This is going to happen where there's going to be more stringent rules and they're going to need a permit. So now there's an interesting thing of like, if they have to also get permitted by September 1st, otherwise Tesla's kicked out, which is like 2 months away. So interesting dynamics here, but that's the gist.
Valen chair on this.
Okay.
You might recall when we talked about housing in Japan and how they keep prices so low relative to other similarly important cities in the world. And part of that is because they nationalized zoning, and people at the local level
couldn't fuck with it.
With zoning and inhibit basically growth or progress. Now, I think maybe unlike housing, depending on how you look at it, this could have a more consequential effect on people getting hit by cars in the street. But I think there's something to be said there about they were able to move forward without being blocked at a local level to test something that could be a really important technology in the future.
I was hit by a house in Tokyo.
I did. They have some weird houses.
I wasn't paying attention and walked into it.
It was Howl's Moving Castle.
It's not 1-to-1, but it was.